Okay, I'm going to explain to you guys the INTJs today. I really think I got them really clear. And they're one of the most difficult for me to have understood just because, they make a 0.8 of the population, which is really rare. But let me just explain to you, and I'm going to give examples. I'm really going to make this very clear to you. Okay, so let's start off with a scenario, right? You're at Starbucks, you order a drink. Numerous things go wrong. The guy makes the wrong drink, the guy made the right drink, the guy thought he had the wrong drink, the guy yelled at him, the guy didn't yell at him, the customer was psychotic, yada. So we have a certain system that's going on that's not being run properly. Now that system, I like to refer to as the function called TE, extroverted thinking. It's an external based thinking, setting up system. Policemen tend to be lead with the function extroverted thinking. It's where rules, sometimes they can be a little bit cold, like rules and systems and rules things need to be in place for things to work. So the TE boss walks in, the guy who leads with TE, let's call him an ESTJ, walks in and says, you have to make the right drink, or you have to get this right, or you have to, or I'm sorry, please leave the store, you're not acting appropriate. A certain system goes on and the TE person takes control and makes sure the system's run. Now, if his second function is NI instead of SI, after having numerous experiences like this, he'll start to realize, people are not always normal, people make mistakes, things happen, and he can start to reform a little bit the system, the controlling system of running the business, in a positive way. The intuition could allow him to kind of see things a little bit more in an intuitive way, not just as they are, and kind of reform the system in a way that it'll still be Starbucks running the same system, but it will be working backwards and reforming the system that's already in place. Now, INTJs work the opposite. They lead with NI, and the second function's TE. For them, they create the system. They're the strategy that makes the system. So they'll just sit there at the Starbucks, and they won't say a word. They'll just be observing. Love observing. And from all of their observances, they'll come to a conclusion. They'll realize that it's very normal for wackos to walk into Starbucks and make a scene. It's normal for people to make a mistake. It's normal for the wrong drink to be made. More when it gets to the counter to when it gets to the customer. Let me create a Starbucks system from scratch. In an intuitive way, I'm going to create the TE system that will be the utmost strategy, and it'll be very intuitive based because they have intuition. So it's going to be we're going to make a really nice system of how we're going to line up what drinks go to who. I'm going to hire an employee who gives the drinks to be someone who's very soft spoken, very understanding. I'm not going to put the area where the people pick up drinks, sorry for the stutter, pick up drinks in the area that could cause the biggest commotion. And because all of this information is coming from an experience of creating information, it's a much more decisive information. It's something that's not just to contrast to extroverted intuition, where it's just ideas and conclusions and all these things. It's something that's coming from a backlog of experience, so there's much more decisiveness and credibility to it. And then they will go ahead and they will move forward with these ideas to create a TE system. And that is why they can be incredible architects. They're incredible at being able to create systems that work best. And their minds they're not going to be like all over the place. They're not going to be, running from one idea to the next idea to the next idea, because they're a J, so they want to have order. They want things to make sense. They watch, they observe, and from all the experiences, that's where their intuition comes in and will decide something that will make sense to them. And INTJs are absolutely, wonders when it comes to being able to make systems and change the world in a very, very, structured way, to create incredible businesses, to be able to create incredible systems, to create that system. We have all the rules in the school, we have all the rules on the street when you're driving, and you have the rules. Somebody creates that system. The person that you want to create that system is the INTj. And in a similar vein, INFPs are very similar to that. They're playing in not like the controlling the external environment world in terms of structure, but in terms of feelings. And they take those experiences with feelings and they create an environment that is conducive for feelings to be most taken care of and most accepted. And again, because it's coming from the backlog of experience and it's not just like idea after idea, it's coming from information. It's not an overload of ideas, and it's ideas that have more decisiveness to it. And that's what makes them so incredible at being able to create the systems. Unbelievable. Now I want to just add on one more point. You might think, wait a second, why is it that NI are the people that create the systems? Everybody knows the smartest of all the types are the people that lead with TI, internal introverted thinking. It's an internal thinking system. The ability to know what makes sense to you and be completely, not based on any systems, based on how you understand what you believe. And you should be able to be, especially if you're an INTP, where your first function is is TI, and then your second function is extroverted intuition. You should be the one to be able to take all of that intuition in and create that in your mind, that like thinking game plan and structure to be able to create that system. And the answer is because TIs are very focused on their own understanding and their own thinking. They're not as focused on taking the experiences and making things much more efficient. They will be the one that will almost take the system that the INTJ will have created, and they will just kind of think their way through it and find loopholes and find errors and give compliments of things that made sense of it, because they don't have that almost vision of being able to, which I think partially comes from the fact that they're the INTJs are Js, of taking the experiences to make it more efficient. They're just the thinkers. And they actually could create a system. They actually could create an environment, but it would be more of what you would do is you would go over to them and you would say, listen, I'm creating this system. Can I just run it by you? And you just, as an INTP with your TI, can you just sift through it all and tell me if the system makes sense, or loopholes, or anything that you would maybe adapt? And that's where they would be amazing at it. And a real leader is somebody who knows how to be able to delegate, the best talents per the best positions. In other words, I'm not saying that so, I'm not articulating that well, but basically to be able to take the people that are best at what they do and put them in that position. And that is to answer your question about why the INTPs are not the leaders in creating the strategy and the chess players. All right, everyone. I just went to the gym, workout. My throat is a little bit like, but I just had to get this idea out because I finally understand INTJs, and I also understand why NI versus TI. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It makes so much sense. See you later.